Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of All About You. In today's video, I will be going over an updated version of my Android stack, Android 17 to be exact. Now, this stack, I've been working on it thoroughly, making sure that I get all the kinks out, and you guys already seen me taking it to some pretty relatively big events. A 3K that I recently went to, which was really nice because instead of your typical overwhelm, I was actually using Shenron, the 4-drop, in it, and it was phenomenal. And it had my own little nice flow to it. But in this time, I actually went to a recent locals, dominated, came in first place, which was pretty cool. And it was overall a pretty nice experience going up against a lot of competitive decks. Now this time I decided to go with a faster approach and running some overwhelm. So you're going to see some similarities to some of the most recent deck lists that have been, flowing around. Except I'm going to show you a really more finessed list. So without further ado, let's begin. So on the front side, he's 10K. He has the, the typical effect that when he's at 6 or less, you can awaken and you draw 2 cards. And then, of course, all your androids get -1 cost. Same here. This effect carries over to the next, except when you have 4 or less life, you get a nice, lovely 5K boost to all of your Android 17 and 18s, including your leader. And then, of course, you draw a card when you attack. Now, we're going to start off with the cell chain. We run 4 growing life form cell. We run 4 evolving life form cell. And then last but not least, we run perfect force cell. So we're just maximizing all the copies just to make sure that we are consistent regardless if it goes into your life. If any of these pieces are in your life or in your hand, it's fine because we run so many that it's easy to pull off multiple cell chains in a game on average. Now for our androids, in my previous list, you saw that I ran 4 of her, which was obviously going to remain the same because she is busted. But now we're also running 1, 2, 3, 4. We're running 4 of her instead of just our traditional 3. Reason being is this card is very strong outside of just the Android engine when you're trying to go into the cell chain. You actually want to use this card if you can to apply pressure on your opponent and also increase the odds of having a cell chain piece. So that's that. Now, moving forward, we're running, instead of 3 in my previous list, we are running 4. So just like his counterpart, these are our crit droids and they are extremely strong. So with that being said, we're just maximizing our pieces so that we can go into the cell chain and we can also maximize our usage in playing our androids. Of course, we are going to stick with the traditional 4. 4 really works very well with Android 17. He's our removal, our most reliable removal of the deck. Moving forward, we also have our super combos, which still remained as Android 16. Android 16 is really, really strong in certain occasions, especially when you have control over your opponent's hand via cell chain, when you can just start knocking their hand down. And of course, a lot of people have spoken about this before. You can pretty much game your opponent on a turn once you cell chain. Now, that's not the main goal of this deck, but it has the option to do so. Now, as far as our extra cards, we're gonna go with our 4 Shocking Death Balls. This card is extremely strong, one of the best negates in the game, as I've said before. And what makes it so very, very, very strong is that you're able to use it for free when you have 5 cards in your drop zone. So 5 cards in your drop zone and you can use this bad boy for free by taking a life. And of course, it has the perk of being able to KO a 2-drop on your opponent's side of the board. Now, for the last 4 extra cards we run, we remained with the 4 King Vegeta surprise attacks. A lot of people are starting to mainboard them now. You guys already know me, and you know the type of decks I run. Mainboard 4 of these bad boys because we want consistency for what the deck can do. Now, we're going to be going over the utility part of the deck and the awakening factor. So, this changed. Before we were running the Black Mass Saiyan, aka Vegeta, we actually replaced them for the Freezes. And the reason why we had to do that was because of Crisis Crusher. Crisis Crusher has proven to be a problem, especially against the Shenron matchup, all due to the fact that Crisis Crusher says 1-drops can attack. So that means that our Mass Saiyan is reduced to not being able to do anything, and then the worst part about it is that if you don't combo it off the board, Crisis gets a free kill. So what's great about this guy is you can still bring him out, you can still take a life. Additionally, you can attack with your leader, attack with other battle cards, and then use him as a combo piece, which is not bad. So he did the job of helping you awaken. Now, we are still running our 4 TN. TN is badass, and he's someone that I will keep in the deck. As I showed you in the previous deck profile, he was a 4 and he remained a 4 through testing. He's just very strong, allows you to awaken ASAP, especially against the Shenron matches. Now, I'm going to let you know that this deck was weak against Shenron, and it's still not that, it's still its weakest matchup, but this deck list can deal with Shenron much greater than how it was before. We made sure we worked out some of the kinks so that it's more consistent. And last but not least, we are actually running our overround, which is our Dark Temptation Toa. She's perfect for when you're trying to go for game or when you're utilizing your cell chain. She does a lot of work because when your opponent's already low on hand, she can snag a card from their hand and then utilize it with your super combo. You're just pinging multiple cards out of your opponent's hand, which it makes it very difficult for them to respond. So again, this deck, I'm going to just let you guys know its strengths. Its strengths is essentially Storm. Any deck that is mainly aggro, so any aggro decks you guys are going to have a good time against because the deck is very strong when it comes up against those matchups. Now, some of the weaknesses. Shenron, I mentioned it several times in this video, and that's because a good Shenron deck, aka hand control, will give this deck a real run for its money because it can beat you at hand control. If you are making me pitch my cell chain away as early as turn 1 to 2, between those early turns, you're not allowing the player to be able to cell chain you. They can't. How are they going to cell chain you with only 2 to 3 cards left in hand, and they still have to charge a card every turn? And then if they're not awakened, Shenron can bully you. They'll just keep hitting your hand, use cards like Android 17, use some crit cards, critting your life, ditching out your hand, and it's just a bad game if you can't self-awaken, which is why TN is very important. I know a lot of people don't like the card, but trust me, it's something that you need to use in order to play against that matchup. Being not awakened is a very, very tough time, and to be honest, even when you are awakened, the matchup isn't easy. It's not free, guys. The matchup will still be hard for you to win because it's one of your weakest matchups because they're doing what we do, just faster, and they're constantly hitting you regardless if you're awakened or not. So you got to be careful. I want to make this deck profile nice and short and sweet. It was able to take a nice little 12-man event. Nothing to brag about. It's just that it's solid, consistent. It was able to beat Storm, and it was able to beat Shenron players. Now, if you're the more skilled player in an average game, you're going to be able to beat your opponent. If your opponent's skill is close to yours, that's when you're going to start struggling. And even if they're not quite there on your skill level, the matchup is not in your favor. So you just got to be careful. You know, I had my first-hand experience last tournament when I played in that 3K. And it wasn't flowers and daisies. It was pretty hard. And because of that, I decided, you know what? If I'm going to rock with androids and have fun with them, I got to make sure that the deck is as strong as it can be. But again, guys, I want to thank you all for supporting this channel. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and hope your holidays are, you know, you got what you wanted during your holidays, especially for Christmas. And let's make this New Year's great, you know. We're going to have a whole new year with Dragon Ball Super, and it's going to be exciting to see what people can create coming up with the new set. And we're going to see, hopefully I'm unbanned, you know. Hopefully I'll be able to compete with everyone else, and it'll be a pretty nice event, you know, to come. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and as always, this channel is all about you.